Kyle finds out about Asmon.
So Hasan Piker, the political streamer on Twitch, turns out he was banned by Twitch. So this happened a few days back. I think
Kyle is my goat.
he's actually back now. So I don't know if it was a planned one-day suspension or it was supposed to be longer, but he was able to get back on sooner. Not exactly sure, but he was banned. So I want to hear the whole breakdown of this and react to it. Here we go.
If you're seeing this, that means I've probably been banned. That's right. Cancel culture has finally come for me. Oh my God, it's over. It's over. The free speech warriors. Where are you now? They've taken me out, ladies and gentlemen. It's over. I'm done. A couple days ago, I had a conversation where I was responding to the Republican House of Representatives Speaker, and I said some things. Let's take a look at what I said. Libs of TikTok, of course, posted about it. Here's what Libs...
Oh, God. I should have known. I should have known that, like, this was the origin of it, right?
of TikTok claimed I was saying. Hasan Piker just called for violence against a sitting U.S. senator. If you cared about Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott at FBI. This got 17,000 likes. It was on February 28th. Let's take a look at this clip really quickly.
There's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott, okay? You wouldn't make Rick Scott, former governor of Florida, Rick Scott, you wouldn't make him a prominent part of the Republican Party. Now, that seems like a wild thing to say. Oh my God. Is this person calling for the death of a U.S. senator? Of course not. I was not calling for the assassination of a U.S. senator. So I went back to figure out the context. Here it is. Let's take a look.
Are people who are covered by Medicaid now going to potentially lose Medicaid coverage as a result of this?
No, look, the White House has made a commitment. The president said over and over and over, we're not going to touch Social Security, Medicare, or Medicaid. We've made the same commitment.
By the way, that's already a lie. The Republican budget cut Medicaid $880 billion. And here he has the nerve to say, after I think they already passed that, he's like, no, we're not going to touch Medicaid.
Yeah, that is him defending that.
Here, Medicaid and Social Security. It's so shameless how brazenly they lie.
Now, that said, what we are going to do is go into those programs and carve out the fraud, waste, and abuse and find efficiencies. Couple of examples. You know, there's about $50 billion estimated that are lost every year in Medicaid, just in fraud alone. No.
That fraud is not coming from individuals. It's coming from providers. They're not tackling providers. They're not actually going after like false billing. They are trying to cut recipients. If you cared about Medicare fraud or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. The reason why I'm saying if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott is because, and not make him a prominent part of the Republican Party, is because he to this day is still known as committing the largest Medicare fraud in U.S. history. They want to cut SNAP. They want to cut Medicaid. They want to cut the funding of Medicaid. They want to make it harder for people to receive Medicaid. They don't want to actually go after medical providers or the insurance companies or the nursing homes that are lining their pockets with major donations. Those are the people who actually engage in the fraud. It's not your uncle that's like lying about their condition and stealing money from the government by, going to the doctor or whatever.
That's so insane. They just flat out lied. They just flat out completely edited the clip, took it out of context, made it look like he was making a direct threat of violence against Rick Scott. That's complete and utter bullshit. You just saw the full context. Man, that's so crazy. They just lie. Like, they just lie.
He's right.
And
it's
they
OP.
had to know.
It's OP. Lying is OP. Please nerf. Lying is OP. Please nerf. Lying is OP. Mods. Gods.
Oh, they were doing it because they chopped it up in a way to make it look like he was doing a direct threat of violence when he wasn't doing a direct threat of violence. He was very clearly saying, hey, Mike Johnson, if you cared about Medicare or Medicaid fraud, you would kill Rick Scott. That's what he was saying. Why? Because Rick Scott did the biggest Medicaid fraud in the history, or Medicare fraud in his instance, in the history of this country at the time. That, like I know that they know this was not a direct call to violence, and the fact that it was chopped up.
That's the worst part about it. Like, it's the same with the anti-Semitism shit. Like, Hasan is an anti-Semite. Hasan is a terrorist. He's an anti-Semite. Like, no, you know that that's not the case. People who say that know that it's not true. Okay? They know that it's not true. They're just simply repeating it. Maybe some people legitimately believe it. Okay? I'm sure Megaphonics' parents legitimately believe it. They've already been believing it because they're pro-Israel. And then all of a sudden, someone comes along and says, no, he's an anti-Semite. And then they go, oh, I knew it. That's why he's anti-Israel. There's no way that he could be anti-Israel without being anti-Semitic, of course, right? And that's it. It's confirmation bias for a lot of people. For sure. It's confirmation bias. But for the overwhelming majority, like people, like Ethan knows I'm not fucking anti-Semitic. Unless he just like literally fell too many times and his brain melted in the process or some shit. Okay? Like we've had numerous conversations on camera, off camera about the dangers of anti-Semitism. Like he knows that that is not the fucking case. Okay? That is not the case. It's ridiculous. No, don't say I mean. I'm telling you, he is viciously smearing me as an anti-Semite because he wants to deplatform me. That's it. I don't think he legitimately thinks I'm anti-Semitic. That would be psychotic. That's it. What is this? Check off screen. Ethan Klein will not have a call in from ideological foes who've called for a debate or are knowledgeable, like Bad Empanada, Mike from PA, Denim TV, or Hasan the Hun. He will, however, want to debate random Twitter users. He's not serious. Yeah, I don't understand it. Why? What? He wants to smoke from random Twitter users, but he won't fucking face me? That's kind of cowardly. Lamau, no, Ethan definitely thinks you're anti-Semitic, and yes, he definitely fell too many times. His brain is 100% soup. That is... There ain't no fucking way, dude. I don't believe that. I still don't believe that. It is... To be fair, not wanting a call from Bad Empanada is reasonable. Okay, that is fair. That is fair. Not wanting a call from Bad Empanada is fair. How many times do you have to be wrong on Ethan to get it? I mean, it doesn't matter if if I'm wrong on Ethan or not. I think it's very obvious that I recognize what he's doing. What he's doing is actively trying to deplatform every single pro-Palestinian voice to the best of his fucking ability, and do that at the behest of trying to find this like narrow focus on a pro-Palestinian liberal Zionism. Except the difference is even liberal Zionists, for the most part, know not to go to the territories that Ethan goes to. He just goes above and beyond. Okay? That's the difference. He's just like, he's trying to narrowly carve himself a space here where he's like, oh, I'm a liberal Zionist. I'm progressive. I just happen to hate everyone that says pro-Palestinian things. And then he takes it to the same degree as like a Josh Hawley, where he's just like, oh, I'm pro-Palestinian. I just think that like Hamas will rape you and kill you if you're gay. And also that all of these Hamas terrorists are rapist, bloodthirsty monsters who none of these like orphan children could ever have an interest in like emancipation and an end to this fucking occupation. It's all just like crazy anti-Semitism mode. And every single actor in the region, every single person in the region cannot look at what the fuck is going on. A violent settler colonial entity that is destroying every nation in its periphery and you know, feel some type of way about it. No, they must also be violent, rabid anti-Semites. Every single one of them.
Anyway, and put out there like that.
Hasan, you're crashing outlaw. Okay, dude. The collective total that I've dedicated to talking about Ethan on this broadcast over the past month is basically one entire episode of H3H3 podcast. How are you so dumb trying to act about people who are dumber than you? What? This doesn't even make sense. I mean, first of all, I am dumb. But I don't understand what you're saying here. You're saying that Ethan is dumber than me? Ban me? No, I'm not going to ban you. What the fuck? Okay, let's continue.
It's how do you win a war with a side that is just committed to being dishonest? I genuinely don't know the answer to that. Because if they're going to spin and twist everything and chop it up and take it out of context and lie about it, and then that takes off like wildfire, it's like the old saying goes, like
Look, I'm dumb, but at least I'm smart enough to know my limitations. That's important to understand, okay? I think that automatically makes you smarter than most people.
lie goes all the way around the world before the truth can get its pants on, right? And by the way, they dodged the substantive and obviously correct point that he was making. That all these Republicans, we care about Medicare fraud and Medicaid fraud, bro. That's what we care about. Really? Then why is one of the leaders in your party a Medicare fraudster? He's the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
My goat, Kyle.
I don't know how he's being so calm about this.
Bro, it's because I've been called a fucking... Okay, two reasons. One, because my name is Hasan, and for the past 16, 17 months of the ongoing Israeli genocide, I've been the victim of death threats to the tune of thousands every single day. Some of them are very prominent. It happens in the fucking Twitch chat. You see it. And, you know, I don't have blonde hair. And I can't avoid that level of scrutiny. So I'm just kind of used to it. You know? This is light work, in my opinion. People have been actively saying that I'm a terrorist that the FBI should fucking throw in jail when this incoming administration has been talking about doing exactly that. You know, in that process, I think like someone saying I've called for the assassination of a sitting senator when I clearly didn't. You know, it is what it is.
I'm fucking furious.
It's
Are
not
you
that
kidding
significant.
me?
Obviously, I should have used hyperbolic language, and there's definitely some ownership that
Oh
I'm...
my God. See, I actually think he's wrong on this part. Don't give them an inch, bro. Don't give them a fucking inch. They're lying. They're lying about you. They're lying about what you said. They're trying to make it look like you did a direct threat of violence when clearly what you were saying is you played the clip of Mike Johnson, and then you said if you, Mike Johnson, actually cared about Medicare and Medicaid fraud, you would kill this asshole, Rick Scott, because this asshole did like over $1 billion in fraud. That's what you're like, don't even get, I shouldn't use hyperbolic language. Fuck that. Fuck that. Use whatever kind of hyperbolic language you want. You don't think they use hyperbolic language every day, every hour of every day. Don't give them an inch, bro. Don't give them an inch. If I'm trying to be kind to him, I don't know, maybe there's some drama behind the scenes and the head of Twitch is telling him like, you got to apologize or this. I don't know. I have no idea, but you know, my instinct seeing that if they just lied about me in such a clear way, I would not be like, oh yeah, I shouldn't have used the hyperbolic language. Like, fuck that. I'll use triple as hyperbolic language, and in the end, I'm going to win because when the truth comes out, the truth will prevail, and everybody will know I'm right and you're wrong, and you're a fucking liar, and I'm not.
I should not have said Mike Johnson should kill Rick Scott. I should have simply said Mike Johnson should punish Rick Scott, perhaps with the maximum punishment, whatever that would be, for defrauding Medicare and Medicaid for over $1.7 billion. Now let's talk about the things that he did in this process, because Rick Scott co-founded the Columbia Hospital Corporation, which later merged to a corporation known as Columbia/HCA, which eventually became the nation's largest for-profit healthcare company. Rick Scott, who of course also looks like Voldemort, did a lot of things. The company defrauded Medicare, Medicaid, and other federal programs. The U.S. Department of Justice won 14 felony convictions against the company, which was fined $1.7 billion.
Law and order. You always hear.
Wait, when did Kyle get based? This is how Kyle always has been. Kyle has always been great. I've often maintained the position that Kyle, out of all of the skeptics, was the one fucking skeptic, the one like atheist guy who never turned into an annoying Islamophobe who became like a reactionary right-wing loser. Kyle has always been this guy.
Hear that from the right. Republicans pretend to be all about law and order. Unless it's Donald Trump, who was charged with 91 crimes and convicted on some of them. Unless it's Benjamin Netanyahu, who's the world's most obvious war criminal, who regularly, violates the Nuremberg Tribunal and the Geneva Conventions. Unless it's assholes like Rick Scott, right? Who is a white-collar criminal who did massive fraud. It's always law and order, except for me and my friends and my buddies and the people who agree with me. So, I never want to hear it again from these people. Holy shit. He's making a substantive point about Medicare fraud. And it just right over their head, or they didn't care. They dodged it on purpose, even though they...
I don't think Kyle knows that even saying if this person claims to hate this specific type of crime, they would kill this person who literally did that is still TOS on Twitch. Yeah, that's it. Like, while everybody understands, hey, bro, just came in as I see your takes on YouTube a lot, and you imply a lot of things about people. Just wanted to say you got to choose your wording as it matters a lot. Thanks, man. I mean, I do professionally speak for 10 hours a day. Maybe you didn't know that from the clips, but thank you. I mean, I appreciate your feedback. Thank you for the constructive criticism. Honestly, I found out about you because of this whole drama, so I'm sure it has helped you a lot. I think so.
They know he's factually correct. This isn't hidden knowledge about Rick Scott. This is very well known about Rick Scott. How can anybody disagree with the point that, hey, if anybody needs to shut the fuck up on the issue of Medicare and Medicaid fraud, it's you guys. I don't want to hear a goddamn word from you guys about this, especially because they lie and say, bro, we're cutting all the waste, fraud, and abuse, bro. When in reality, you look at the specifics and they're not. They're trying to cut $880 billion from Medicaid. That's what the Republican budget that passed the House. That's what it does, right? It's just like with Elon and Doge. We're cutting waste, fraud, and abuse. How is it cutting waste, fraud, and abuse if you're dismantling the entire Department of Education? How is it cutting waste, fraud, and abuse if you're destroying the anti-scam police, the CFPB? How's it getting rid of waste, fraud, and abuse if you did 2 separate rounds of layoffs of flight safety officials as planes are falling out of the fucking sky? It's got nothing to do with waste, fraud, or abuse. Nothing at all. Trump fired the inspectors general whose job it is to check for waste, fraud, and abuse. So they lie. Oh, my God.
In what was at the time the largest healthcare fraud settlement in United States history.
HCA was defrauding the government.
HCA admitted to things like submitting inflated bills and exaggerating diagnoses to increase Medicare reimbursement.
By the way, just want to post this here. Rick Scott, United States Senator, peaked in terms of traffic, in terms of trending traffic in the past 90 days after this ban took place, which is fucking awesome. I will take that ban gladly, okay? Any day of the freaking week, baby. Probably not the peak for the past, let's see where it is for the past 12 months. Yeah, not the peak for the past 12 months, to be fair. I don't know what happened here. I think it was maybe Elon Musk or something that might have talked about him or some shit. But, you know, it's always good to bring up Rick Scott and remind people his crimes. Trump and Elon boosted him. Yeah. Yeah, he was in the conversation for a majority leader. According to federal investigators, the hospital company systematically defrauded Medicare, Medicaid, and other federal healthcare programs while paying kickbacks to its physicians.
Imagine lying to protect Rick Scott, to protect this fucking asshole, this guy who should be in prison for the rest of his life. Imagine lying to protect him. I love that he's given the substantive breakdown here, but again, I was triggered by him being like, oh, maybe I was too hyperbolic. No, you were not. You were not hyperbolic enough.
Scott, of course, denied any wrongdoing.
Scott pled the fifth 75 times to avoid jail for Medicare fraud.
He didn't go to jail over this. He didn't even get any punishments over this. And Scott's resignation certainly was fantastic. For his pockets, he walked away with $10 million in severance pay.
See, this is why we have an epidemic in this country of white-collar crime. This is why corporate crime is basically legal, right? Because what happens is you get a little slap on the wrist, you generally have to pay a fine, but at the end of the day, you end up profiting more from running your scam than if you didn't run the scam, which means you now have incentivized white-collar criminals, hey, do more crimes, right? We need to get to the point where corporate criminals are prosecuted like they're violent criminals because their crimes are effectively violent. So I mean, that is such an important point. War criminals, torturers, right? Involving people in the Bush administration, people in this administration, Netanyahu, the Israeli regime. We need to prosecute war criminals and throw the book at them, and we need to prosecute white-collar criminals because they are the real criminals in this country. And
okay, I want to see what he has to say when he finds out about Asmongold.
A manual recount confirmed Republican Governor Rick Scott's victory over the incumbent Democrat Bill Nelson.
Once again, after doing insane amounts of Medicare fraud.
Elon Musk posted on X his support for Florida Senator Rick Scott for Senate Majority Leader.
Of course. Of fucking course. Find me a vampire man who looks like a fucking gremlin who committed countless crimes, who's mega wealthy, and Elon's like, that's my guy right there. Fucking of course. Absolutely. You guys are made for each other.
Was simply the point. But of course, Republicans want to avoid this point. Asmongold, for those of you who don't know, is a right-wing political commentator. He does have some centrist opinions every now and then. I believe he himself actually is a big advocate for healthcare, likes Bernie Sanders, but spends most of his time simply sitting around and reacting to Donald Trump. He is now, officially, by my estimations, a larger right-wing political commentator than even the likes of Ben Shapiro. Very successful in this field. His videos reacting to Donald Trump get millions.
Isn't this the guy? Didn't he say something like casually genocidal? Like, I think I covered something he said that was just like insanely genocidal. Remember that? I think he was talking about Gaza, and he was talking about how, they're just inferior because Islam is inferior. Isn't that the guy? I think it is.
Millions of views, more so than the Daily Wire could ever dream of. Asmongold also is the largest political content creator on Twitch in general. He's the largest political streamer now. He's
like, really? This guy's like legit political now?
Double my size. He's always been double my size, but he's now double my size when it comes to political commentary as well. So let's see what the largest free speech defender had to say. He actually voluntarily brings this up in a YouTube video called "What the fuck is Twitch doing?" The YouTube video is from 2 days ago with 1 million views. The first 13 minutes of it is just reacting to the latest Ethan Klein video, who is falsely smearing me as someone who doesn't care about Israeli civilians or whatever, which is obviously incorrect, but we'll get to that perhaps down the line. He packaged that up with the Libs of TikTok video to call for my banning.
Oh my God. So he added to the pile-on. This guy added to the pile-on. Here's my reaction. That's my reaction. Like, what am I supposed to do with these people? What am I supposed to do with these people? Like, it was clearly a smear attempt. When you see the full context, it's very obvious what he was saying. It was not remotely close to a direct call of violence, and you get...
Okay, the one negative consequence of this banning is that everyone is constantly now demanding I get banned so I make more sit-down videos on my YouTube channel. Okay? Y'all need to chill out, all right? I'll make more YouTube videos, more YouTube sit-down videos without fucking, without actually getting banned. Because, I mean, it was a banger. It did really, really well. It got 1.1 million views in one day. It's crazy. And it definitely gave me a lot of confidence that, like, if worst case scenario, I have alternative means of continuing what I've been doing. Perhaps even better. The ban is the hook, though? No, for sure. For sure. That played a major role in this as well. But I've been banned in the past. And it's never been like that because I've never made a video about it. And I think it's actually pretty good when I'm not constantly monitoring chat to hear some of the dumbest takes anyone has ever heard.
He was banned, and then you have all these fucking idiots adding to the pile-on, clearly not knowing the context, or either adding in on the lie, knowing they're lying, or just being duped. But it's like, what am I supposed to do with these people? Right? Like, these are the sorts of people, to be fair, I have no idea what Asmongold has said on this issue, but these are the sorts of people who look at what Elon's doing, and they're like, oh, yes, keep cutting that waste, fraud, and abuse. Even though it's got nothing at all to do with waste, fraud, and abuse, and they're slashing jobs for disabled veterans and destroying the anti-scam police and dismantling the Department of Education and firing flight safety officials and hacking our nuclear program. Like, we know it's got nothing to do with that, but these are the sorts of people oh, yes, Elon, amazing, genius, mega genius. Like, I have zero fucking patience left for these sorts of people. Zero. None. Zero. Zilch. Nada. I can't deal with it. It's like, again, how are we supposed to navigate a political environment where like 50% of the people in the conversation are just fucking disgusting liars and incompetent idiots? I don't know how to navigate that. Maybe you guys can help me out with it. But I'm glad he's been unbanned. He should have never been banned in the first place. And he goes on to say, like, look, I got to make sure I'll watch my language going into the future. Hasan, again, don't give them a fucking inch, bro. You did nothing wrong. Like, stop pretending. Like, everybody needs to stop pretending. Like, oh, my bad faith critics maybe have a slight point. No, they fucking don't.
No, my bad faith critics don't have a slight point, but that doesn't change the reality that I should be more careful with the language that I use, because I know that there are an insane amount of bad faith critics out there who are actively working to undermine everything that I say and do, and they don't even align. They don't even align on politics in and of itself. Like, some of them are liberals and fucking hate one another.
It's obvious.
And others are Asmongold. You know what I mean? Like, think about it this way. These are people like XQC, Asmongold, Destiny, and Ethan Klein don't agree on much, okay? With one exception, and that is fuck Hasan. That's it. That's it. So when I'm in a situation like that, and these are communities that also deliberately will highlight certain things and are not shy of brigading, especially like Ethan Klein, I would say, is not shy about brigading and even going so far as to dox random Redditors, dox random former fans, like just insanity, complete and utter madness. And also frivolous lawsuits with the hopes that they can get personal information of people that have like said something mean about them. If you think that it's an accident that all these other commentary space YouTubers haven't made a video about Ethan doing all this shit, when if I was doing anything remotely close to that, there would be 7,000 fucking YouTube videos out there of every single person going, oh, dude, look at that. Look at this guy. He's fucking crashing out, all this shit. The reason why they don't do that is twofold. The ones who are progressive don't do that because they don't want the fucking smoke, because Ethan has shown time and time again he will not back down. He will use his audience to fucking actively go after people. Okay? Ethan has an 8-minute long N-word compilation. Exactly. It does not matter. But give any valid criticism, they flip out. That's what it is. Just today, Ethan said he's going to go after anyone who uploads clips of their show and will be getting their IP with a subpoena. Yeah, it's just like, it's so obvious. It's so fucking obvious that, he is doing so many things that other YouTubers in the past would never entertain, right? Other content creators in the past would never entertain someone going after another person's bag, going after advertisers. I don't have any sponsors, so obviously they can't go after my sponsors, so they try to go after the entire fucking platform, which is also pretty funny because YouTube hosts literally both Ethan Klein and a million other content creators who have done a metric ton worse than what Ethan is even suggesting I have done falsely. But the rest of the commentary space, the Keemstar adjacent slop tubers, the drama farmers, don't say anything because while they understand that Ethan is crashing out and it's like funny to say, haha, fuck Ethan, he's crashing out at someone like myself. And those people hate me a lot more than they fucking hate Ethan. So they'll use Ethan's extended crash out as an opportunity not to like say anything and hope that it's like the fuck Hasan train continues. Those people are my ideological opponents. The ones that do have politics. And sometimes it can be something as silly as, I want to say slurs and Hasan thinks that's bad. So, you were a joke, mate. You're so delusional nowadays. What happened? I don't know, mate, but why'd you go from going outro, please? Okay, Lolly account avatar PFP, XQC, let's go. And then saying, you're a joke, mate. You're so delusional nowadays. What happened? What happened? Mate, you are though. Yes. Ask the average person if ask the average person who's a bigger joke. Not like people in your fucking subreddit. Okay, I miss the old days of listening to you yapping. Well, considering that my commentary or my ideology has not changed over the course of the past 10 years, I think it's probably you that changed your perspective. Just saying. You can find me advocating for the same exact things that I was advocating for 10 fucking years ago, as a matter of fact. Whether it be taking a firm and strong, committed position on Palestinian emancipation or any number of different things. You changed, bro. Okay, point to a single thing that I've changed on, and then we can maybe discuss. There could be some areas of growth where my attitude or my opinion has changed, but overall, my firmly held convictions have not. But, you know, I think we already know where you're coming from, so I know why you think I've changed. Yeah, I changed because I made your favorite content creator feel bad because I said gambling at a cryptocurrency casino that is unregulated. Not sure about 10 years, but your takes on politics have shifted. Okay, I'm going to enjoy this. Give me some examples of what has changed on my political takes. And no, bro tips doesn't count. Lamau, I don't care about Gamba. Okay, well then tell me about what my political opinions of mine have changed. Not even 10 years, but just like recently, since 2021.